I'm Laura Chandler, and my guest today on the Sacred Stream Radio podcast is Fritz Clay, legendary hairstylist and owner of Hair Play Salon in San Francisco. Fritz has his own line of hair care products called Set, which are especially designed for multi textured hair. He's also the founder of the nonprofit Fostering Connections, which seeks to empower and support foster care parents and their children through hair care education and workshops. Welcome, Fritz.
Hello. Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so I'm really excited that you're here today.
We've arrived.
It's true. It's true. And, you have a very rich history and accomplishments as a business owner and in the hair care industry. And, I just wanted to start with how you got started in hair care and in styling.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I have to go long and deep with that one, Laura. I started with doing my own hair. I was living in a neighborhood predominantly African American neighborhood in San Francisco, and I say that it was very multicultural, but there was a lot of afros going on
Mhm.
in my you know the the Michael Jackson and, the whole Afro thing in the '70s, and I was probably, who knows, 11 years old. But I had to have an afro going to school. I had this long, wavy, curly hair, but it just wasn't giving me the fro. So I learned how to do that. Got some sponge rollers and did my thing and kind of kept my eyes open and watching people around me doing hair. Uh, So I learned how to come out of the room one day with that afro and put a scarf over it, sprayed it, puffed it, got it all
Yeah.
make sure it was molded really nicely and had the fro.
Yeah.
So that was, that was, an accomplishment, and to realize, and not even realize that I was doing some real hairdressing.
Mhm.
So, anyway, everyone wanted to know, "How did that happen?" and yada, 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 and so I was starting to give tips then at an early age.
Yeah.
Um, so I have a, godmother that, she did hair, and, she was a barber instructor, and, she was, just a lovely lady. I almost can say I owe everything to her because she really set me on a path later in life. But during that time, I would just hang out with my best friend, which was her grandson, and so I would. She had a barbershop also in her salon. I mean, in her home. So I would watch her like cut hair and do hair and hang out. I always loved hanging out with adults and what my aunt would say, grown folks conversation. I
Yeah.
was always one of those that, was more interesting to me to be in, that environment than running around with snotty-nosed kids outside, wasn't so, I'm observing that, and, I was like, "Oh, I can do this. I'm a look and learn, type of guy." And I'm like, "I can do this." And so, after a while, I just started cutting friends' hair and, having my little cousins, styling their hair because, it was a canvas there and they were open for it and I was convincing, and so they trusted me. So I started doing, everyone around me that, uh, that would allow me and was worthy because I wasn't doing everybody, it's like, hey. So I would, start, doing hair, and then eventually I was, couple of years went by and I was probably like 14 or so, and I was kind of 14, 15, like the neighborhood stylist. I was cutting
Wow.
um, my friends' parents' hair. They're like, "Oh, you can give me a little trim." Uh, and I just really like I was, convinced that I was like the latest and the greatest, you know? It's like and I wasn't getting any complaints, but, you know, they weren't like, available reviews and stuff then, so
Well, that's pretty impressive that you were pretty much cutting hair by 14 or 15, like, full on.
I was, truly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I had a lot of pocket money, you know, which
Mhm.
helps confidence too, you know, I had like, you know, I can get a grab a bag of, you know, full size, caramel corn, and I was good to go.
That's great.
No financial direction then. I could only imagine, like, what it would be like if I could have turned that money that I had in my pocket then to
Yeah,
what it would be like now had I had some guidance.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but, yeah, it was, definitely, started there. So, from there, you know, I kind of faded out of doing hair. I was only doing immediate because it wasn't a cool thing to do, you know, like,
Mhm.
you know, people play the dozens and, you know, you get called out and just hair for a young man was like, "Oh, really?" And so I kind of shied
Right.
away from that because I was too cool for school. And, so I allowed, uh, I allowed that to happen for, a couple of years where I was just it wasn't my focus, and I didn't think it was gonna be, my career
Mhm.
as well. I thought I was gonna be like a computer analyst, and, Lord knows I could barely turn the computer on. But but I was gonna be a computer analyst, Laura, because in school, I was in a summer program, and they had, like, you know, they paid us to go. It was a Mayor Youth program for the summer, and part of that was, uh, they had career day, and so they had different people come in, different from different, uh, backgrounds, what am I trying to say? Professionalisms or, careers.
Yeah.
You had, you know, firemen come in and different people talk, and I just remember that on the list, on the top of the list, it was computer analysts, and that was a 75,000 and up year, per year on annual income, and I was like, "That's what I wanna do. I want 75,000 or, you know, plus income." It wasn't even about, like, computer analysts. "Whoa, I'm into I wanna do that." It was really about seeing that number, and I was like, "That's what I wanna do." And it was the farthest thing from what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
you know, but I kinda went with that, and, I was even a year, went to, you know, Hill's Business College to learn to be an analyst, and so I did that, and I got a job at entry level at, you know, Bank of America, and it was, like, data entry and all this stuff, and it wasn't my people. I wasn't around my people. I wasn't really into, like, being managed the way I was being managed, and I was like, "Oh, this is not good." And, it just kinda goes to show how amazing it feels to do something you absolutely love doing, and I've had the opportunity to do that my whole life. So from there, my, godmother, she realized I wasn't, happy. I wasn't the Fritz that she knows. It's like, you know, "I'm gonna take you to lunch," and da da da, and at that point, I was, like, 18, going on 18. Took me to lunch, and then she took me, we went to lunch, said, "Hey, I got somewhere that I have someone I want you to meet." And, so after lunch, we went to, Mason Street here in San Francisco, and there was a place there called San Francisco Barber College, Moeller Barber College. And, so we walked in, and everyone had their their uniforms on, the barber jacket, and it was very pristine, and it was, you know, and it was, maybe like, the 27 students was the max that they can take each, you know, semester or each run. It's 27 students, and so everything was so professional and, just tight. I was like, "Whoa," you know, "this is nice." And, I had been in, like, cosmetology, beauty schools and stuff like that, and it was like, everything all over, it's just busy. And this was, like, very structured and, just like, and it just felt right. And it was mostly men. And so, I was like, "Oh, this is nice." And then so she introduced me to Donald Forfang, which is the owner, I'll never forget. He met me. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "This is Bessie." He said, "So Bessie has been telling me all about you." Her name was Bessie Hawkins. So Bessie's been telling me all about you, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then he took me around, and then he's like showing me around. He said, "You want to see our classrooms downstairs?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we go downstairs and we're looking, and I'm like, "Wow, this is really nice." And he's like, "Yeah, so what do you think?" And I said, "I love it. It's a nice operation you have here." And then he goes, "Well, um, when do you want to start?" And I'm like, well, I'm kind of busy right now." And, it's just, I hadn't even imagined like that was going to be the question or the approach. She said, "What?" He said, "Well, Bessie, this, lovely lady here has taken care of your tuition. And
Wow.
whenever you're ready, we're here." And I'm like, "What?" And I just couldn't believe
Yeah.
it. And it was at that time, it was $7,500. And that was 41 years ago. I could
That's
see
something.
that. Yeah. Just to say those numbers is like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember it clearly. I remember walking
Yeah.
walking in that door, and, it just changed my life. From there, I just thought about it every single day for like 3, 4 days, and it was no pressure, but I was like, I put the pressure on, and I decided I can do it part-time, and I can do that during the day, and I can, work at night, just all this stuff. And I figured it out, but I started, and I shortly after, it was Bank of America wasn't gonna happen, anymore, and so I let that go and just worked it out and powered through, but I never looked back. I've been literally, had a comb in my hand, uh, ever since.
Yeah. Well, you went on and I mean, you've had your salon, Hair Play, very successful, popular salon in San Francisco for 30 years, and you were honored
Yes.
for that. We'll talk about that. But your career included, I mean, you've worked with some really big names, like Naomi Campbell, am I remembering correctly? And
Mhm.
Macy Gray, and I mean, a whole host of people. So you've created a line of products, which I'm just going to plug right now because I use them, and hence I have them. I have
Woo!
right.
All right.
I use 2 and 3, but there's also a 1. There's also, I think, a gloss, which I use. I don't know if you call it a gloss, but it's the shine.
Yes.
That's
Serum, yes.
yeah, and these are great products.
Your hair looks lovely, by the way, Laura.
Oh, thank you. I styled it myself. I mean,
All
I
right.
molded it. You cut it. Thank
I
you.
think we're kinda doing a
I
little party whippy whippy today, huh?
I did that today. Yeah. Sometimes I'll let it get big, but I wanted it nice and controlled for
Yeah,
our meeting.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. You see, I took my hat off for you today as well.
I know. I rarely see you with the hat off, so it's great.
Kind of my Linus blanket.
Yes, yes. And, and getting and talking about your product set, and I wanna talk a little bit about, one of the things about you
Yeah,
that which is just a beautiful thing, and you're a beautiful person, but one of the
thank
beautiful
you.
things about you is your your care and concern for people, especially kids, but people, and your understanding of how difficult it can be for people who don't understand their hair, you
Mhm.
know? And I had friends who were, I have a good friend who's, mixed race. Dad was black, mom was white. Mom did not know what to do with her hair. And so here, you have a kid, junior high, high school, mom's washing that hair, that textured hair, blow drying that hair, and it's just, so hard for her. And a
Mhm.
lot of people have experiences like that.
Yeah.
And you have told me stories. I remember one about the girl from Australia, the mom and the daughter from Australia who came, and you helped them so much. Can you talk a little bit about that? And this
Yeah.
is also the premise of your nonprofit, Fostering Connections, which helps people in the same situation. You have a foster parent who doesn't understand their foster child's hair because they don't have the
Mm.
same kind of hair, and you're
It's
you're offering classes and helping them. And again, the set products, this would be set 3,
That's
is for
right.
the little curlier hair.
That's
Anyway,
your magic tool.
it
That's your tool.
is. So tell us
So
about
Laura so Laura, thank you for understanding because, that is, you hit the nail on the head. When it comes to, hair textures, you would think that, hair is hair, people like some people don't really, they don't think about hair being such an impact on, one's life and it being like, your crown, your crown and glory. But, it starts from the hair, it's the top.
Mhm,
It's like, I've in my experience of 40 years, even outside, even starting young, when you do someone's hair and they feel good and you make them look good or look better and they feel good, I mean, everything changes, their whole demeanor, their whole aura, their personality, everything comes out, it feels good, and they feel great. And you can feel the shine. And so many people, honestly, through life, uh, they don't have that on a regular, or maybe they've never had it. They've never felt great about themselves because of their hair. And you would think, like, wow, that's really deep. Like, how is that possible? And it's very possible and very common with people that have very tight, um, coarse, or even not even coarse, but just tight hair, and it's across the board. You have like people like, oh, it's just black hair. It's just like, but you have black and Latin and Jewish and
mhm,
even Indian clients sit and they like, I hate my hair, and I'm like, what is it about your hair? I think their hair is absolutely beautiful, but they never felt like their hair was beautiful because it was never like encouraged and never told. They were never told how beautiful it is. It was like it needs to go straight, or you need to, we need to cut it off, or we need to hide it, or so all of those things I've heard from so many people over the years, directly, personally, from kids and parents, and I'm like, okay, this is too much, so my thing is, and my popularity with doing hair and me being in business as long as I have is because I do hair and I concentrate on hair. So whether it's super curly or tight or very straight, or and you need color or cut, I'm there, and but I have a real love and affinity for people that never like their hair. And my goal is like, look, I'm gonna like teach you to love your hair, to learn, first of all, that you have beautiful hair, learn how to work with it, and teach whoever is doing it how to do it, teach you how to do it. We're gonna get this hair right, and you're gonna feel good. And I've experienced a lot of tears because of that from both parties, from the parent, from the child, from even an adult client in my chair that I've done their hair for the first time. They never experienced their hair looking the way it looks, and they didn't think it even can look like this. They say, "I've always dreamed of having hair like this." And
mhm,
literally, I've just shaped it up, condition it well, put some product in it that's gonna enhance and,
mhm,
insta set that's gonna go in there, moisturize, not be a heavy topical, greasy, whatever on the hair. It's just something that goes in and allows the hair to be its natural state, and
mhm,
it looks great. And they're just like, oh my god, I've never seen my hair like that, and then you see tears coming down, and
mhm.
I mean, it's powerful, and it's emotional, and it's like, it's real, so
Yeah. I remember, what one of the things that you do that I think is unique is, you take the time to say, "Now, okay, now," because you anybody, not anybody, but a lot of you can get a stylist who can make you look good as you walk out, but it's
Mhm.
not gonna stay looking good when you try to do it yourself.
Right.
Set number 3 here in my hair, just saying, right now.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
hold, it's got the hold. But you go through.
Quality hold.
Yeah, quality hold. You go through it with them and explain, like, "This is what you do on day 2. This is what you do on day 3."
Yes,
You know?
yes.
And
And
again.
it's so important, Laura, to, for them, first of all, to understand that, yes, I'm a stylist. Yes, I have experience, but you know your hair better than I do, so I'm not going to try to claim that, you know, um, I'm like, I have all this magic and the whole bit, but I really want you to learn your hair, as best as possible. And that's kind of, and I'm definitely a step by step
Mhm.
uh, guy, and that's why I have set one, set two, set three, because I'm not going to claim that one product is going to be the the perfect answer for one texture. Although number two can across the board for every texture is amazing because it's just a nice, soft leave-in frizz control product that I certainly now that I've had it for maybe up to 15 years. I personally like it's all around me. I need, if I'm going to do hair, I need my tools, and that is going to be my first grab for my tool. And I explain that as I'm teaching, like this is your go-to. This is one of your tools that's going to make the difference. And and it's just amazing to just have so many people that just never love their hair, to learn to love their hair and get that reputation where you go in and he'll show you how to take care of your hair. And they really do come in with high expectations.
Mhm.
And but I'm ready. I'm ready for the challenge.
And you've trained a whole team of stylists to work in a similar way, and so it's just you come into your salon and everybody can be helped. It's,
Yeah.
everybody.
It's very important, that each client that comes in, feels good at Hair Play. And, with that said, the 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 training of consultation is very important. That's first
Mhm,
and foremost. Every stylist that works at Hair Play is trained, very thorough with consultation, because consultation is everything. That's like, first of all, greeting the client, listening to the client, kind of read the room. If the client seems to be uncomfortable, turn it up a little bit, make your smile brighter, whatever it may be. But,
mhm.
the person wants to feel welcome first and foremost. But if you can't do their hair, if their hair, if they come in and their hair looks like, well, that's just not a texture of hair that I can handle or deal with, that's okay, because not every stylist is trained how to not every stylist can do it as well as the next. And we all stay in our lane, and we know who does well worse. I mean, the best. Someone comes in, it's great. I mean, their hair is a Denise client or a Marty client or a Stacy client. We recognize that,
Mhm.
automatically. But we can give you consultation if they're not there. We can make you feel good, and we'll tell you the whole time, about your hair. And we do understand hair texture. Everyone knows that. But Stacy, I feel like Stacy would be the best stylist for you because he has the most experience with hair, like yourself, and what you're asking for is absolutely Stacy, and you're gonna love him a whole lot.
Right. Yeah,
And everyone wants to go to the right doctor,
that's
I
right.
mean,
Yeah,
you have a room full of doctors, but we got specialists here. It's like,
yeah.
so
That's right, you do.
yeah, if I'm,
Yeah,
if I'm having some kind of heart situation, I want a doctor that specializes in that.
that's right.
I don't wanna kind of sit there and deal with a foot doctor.
That's right. Now now getting back to, fostering connections, you're a nonprofit that helps, foster parents and their kids, uh, love their hair and love their
Yeah.
kids' hair. You were a foster kid.
Mhm.
And that's you are giving back to that system, and I think, if I understand correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a positive experience with your foster parents, and
Yes.
can we talk about your beginnings and how you
Yeah.
got to the foster care system?
So so Lord, just back on the hair a little bit, and I'll roll into that. But the reason I realized that so many parents would come in with their children, and a lot of them mixed children, biracial children, and they come in and they never knew how to work with their child's hair.
Yeah.
So with that, the child had experience of basically trauma. Like they didn't love their hair, and a lot of times they don't even love themselves as much as they would if they love their hair, because it has a lot to do with like how you feel from inside. on my hair, and they don't like their hair, and so they never really shine, you know. So, but they're ready for the change. They want like they're just tired of this. The parents are just like, okay, it's time. And so, and I'm going back to this. I had years of this before all the new products and all the products they have the last 10 years that they've caught on for curly hair and frizzy hair. And, you know, yes, we have that for you. So they caught on. But as before, there was not a lot of product for hair like that. There was not a lot of knowledge and direction and education for hair like that. So that's why so many people were at a loss, like, what do I do? And so that, that made me more of a specialist during that time. So I had my run because like I said, I've been doing this 40 years and I've helped people the whole time. So I was already on board and I was already I felt like in leadership with that. It just feels really great. Now I'm kind of like going into, I'm like, okay, I've been doing my career so long, kind of moving into a consulting kind of field.
Mhm.
I want to build a team that can do what I do and work with these kids, but across the country at these, working with different foster care agencies. I
Yes.
can't do it all, but create an affiliate program that would invite like-minded people to go in, and because the agencies, the foster care agencies, they have the foster parents, they set the classes up for you, and you
Mhm.
go in and you teach. So they're just really looking for the teacher and the direction and a program, and that's what I'm really creating. That I'm just super excited about. I mean, that's like my next level. But
Mhm.
kinda going, and I've taught, like I said, so many parents how to do it, on their own children.
Yeah.
So why not go to the foster care agency where there's a lot of parents and new parents of these children that are, fostering these children, and it's start of the relationship. It's like it's so important that they're not, "Oh," and, they go in, they get this child, they love it, and, "Oh my god, and I'm gonna love you and care for you," but they don't know what to do with the hair,
That's
so
right.
and they necessarily don't know where to take them, and maybe, they don't take the maybe the it's not as important for them to find the resources until it's important, and by that time, the relationship is already affected. So
Right.
now I'm looking to try to back out of this situation, and why not go in with, that, knowledge and excitement that, we're gonna work on this together and, and kinda know what to do with your child's hair. So when I, introduced that, to and when I introduced that concept to the foster care, especially here in San Francisco, as my first stop, and they were like, and I had someone in my chair that was a longtime client that was a social worker, and I was telling her about my concept. You know how we talk, Laura.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, no, I have the perfect person to talk to you. This is amazing. I can't believe it. You came up with this idea." And it was like it was a genius idea, and it was like it seemed so basic.
Yeah.
But all the years that they have, like, you go through the process of, um, fostering a child and the whole bit. Not once do they ever have any mention about, how well do you understand textured hair, or is this something that you're comfortable with? Because that's key,
Yeah.
very important. And so, and it's been talk, amongst like various caretakers and stuff. But anyway, she was like the head. It's like, Fritz, where were you 20 years ago? We're gonna do this and let's just. So she worked with me with putting modules together. Uh,
Mhm.
uh, Personally, we were on Zoom on because it was during the pandemic when I decided that I wanted to start this because I had time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do I do with this time? And I just discovered, backing up, I just received a gift from my daughter, a 23andMe and the whole bit. And Laura, you know this story.
Mhm.
And I was, I've, it's been a foster child my whole life, and my experience was amazing. It was family. It was my mother that fostered me. Her name was Nettie Mae. She was my mother, and that's all I knew. I was 3 days old. I was abandoned at birth, and uh, she 3 days later, I was, basically, the clear story is I was placed in a cardboard box and put in a phone booth on Webster and Clay.